Teachers, are you looking for a fun activity that will help your students learn how to write effective titles for their stories? Stick around. This episode of Never Stop Learning is just what you're looking for. If you haven't already, please check out the companion video to this video entitled Be a Better Writer, How to Write Effective Titles. You could show that video in the classroom, but I think your students would enjoy this activity a lot more. This activity is actually where all the ideas for that companion video came from, because this is an activity that I did with students in my classroom. If you're an English language arts teacher like I was, you probably have a pretty extensive classroom library. I don't know how many titles I had, but I had shelf after shelf after shelf of books that students read in my English classes. For this activity, you're going to actually be pulling those books off the shelf and using them to let the kids get their hands right on those books and check out the titles. If you don't feel like you have an extensive enough classroom library, you could do this activity in the school library. Just make sure that you check with the librarian and let him know that the students are going to have a lot of books off the shelves. You may even want to modify this activity and just place the students in different locations within the library and check out titles on the shelves without actually removing all those books from the shelves. I'll let you work that out. The way this activity worked best in my classroom was for me to pull off stacks of 10 to 12 books and put them on the tables before the students arrived. And I put them so that each set of 2 students had a stack of books that they'd be working with. As the students entered the classroom, they should either pick up a pre-printed sheet on which the columns are already labeled, or grab a sheet of notebook paper folded in half hot dog style so they've got a nice straight line down the middle, and label the 2 columns. The first column should be labeled book title, and the second column should be labeled the connection between the book title and the story. Students only need 1 sheet of paper for the 2 students. They'll work as a pair. Now, any activity you do in the classroom, I'm assuming, you model what you want the students to be doing. So before I let the kids go on this activity, I showed them exactly what I wanted them to do. Using my own recording sheet, I would show them a book and I would say, okay, the title of this book is The Mystery of the Missing Cat, and I would write that down on the title column. Then I would ask the students to look through the 10 to 12 books in their pile and choose just 6 to 8 titles to write down. This added in an element of choice, and choice always makes things more appealing for students. So they're to look through their pile of books and then choose 6 to 8 titles to list in the first column on their recording sheet. Give a few minutes for this. You may even want to set a timer if your students are used to being timed on activities like that. Once the students have written down all their titles, then bring them back together again in a group and show them the next step, the analysis step. They're to look at the titles that they've written down, take a look back at the books, and write down the connection between the title of the book and the story. In the case of The Mystery of the Missing Cat, we would look this over and write down that the missing cat is actually part of the plot of the story. You probably are going to want to model a few of these, and if you need some ideas on titles and connections to model, take a look at that companion video that's listed down in the description, because I have 15 different books and their titles along with the connection between the title and the story already pulled together for you in that particular video. Once you've modeled the analysis part of this activity, Again, give the students a few minutes to work through their list of titles and come up with the connection between their title and the story. So far, this activity has probably taken 15 to 20 minutes. In the last few minutes, you're going to have to decide what works best for your students. You may want to have each pair share out what their favorite title and connection to the story is. You may want to have a place in the classroom where they can just stick up their papers on the wall for everyone to see, or you may want to just collect all those papers and make a combined list for all the students of titles with different connections to the story that students might want to consider when they're coming up with titles for their own stories. Like I said earlier, this was an activity that my students really enjoyed when I did it in the classroom, and it was really effective in helping them learn different ways they could title their own stories. This was an activity that my students really enjoyed and learned a lot from. It combined hands-on with choice, with partner talk and analysis, and it had a really substantial impact on the way that my students wrote titles for their stories. If you're new to Never Stop Learning, please consider subscribing and clicking the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever I upload new content. If you try this activity in your classroom, please let me know how it went and what modifications you made to make it happen for your students in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Never stop learning.